Episode 3, questions and comments. We got some keepers. We have some good ones here, so let's get right to it, eh?
How do you deal with the copywriting thing?
Any video with a band song on it, it immediately gets caught by Content ID, and all that ad revenue will go to whoever claims the Content ID. Now, so every cover I upload, if I look on my page, it'll say includes copyrighted material, and the $ will be X'd off, which means I can't monetize it. But any ads that do run will go straight to the owner of the copyrighted material. So what I do is I don't monetize in the first place. That way, it leaves me, I'm not liable. It doesn't make me look a certain way, like I'm trying to make money off someone else's stuff. Because if someone who owns the copyright happens to see that I'm trying to monetize their material, that could piss them off, and then they could give me a copyright strike, and 3 strikes, you're out. So what I do is I just don't monetize right off the bat, and I don't try to contest the copyright claim, because if you do contest them, and they, the judges find that you have no contest in it, you will get a strike then. So basically, if you want to put up a fight about it, you can have the fight, you're going to lose, and then you'll get a strike. So I just don't do it, which is kind of why I do the Patreon thing. Now I record all my outtakes and like the drum only videos, and I put them all up in Patreon, and then you kind of get something in return, and it's kind of a win-win. Depending on whoever's throwing this copyright on you, it's up to them whether they just take your video down, or they'll restrict it in certain countries, which is why you won't find some of my videos. Like, I'll upload a Slayer video, and half the world can't see it. I did Creating God from Avenged Sevenfold, and a lot of people probably haven't even seen it. Copyright, just the way it goes.
Dude, I'm curious. How did you count that intro for Hardwire to Self-Destruct? Like, did you get the hits, accents, insert whatever you want here thingies?
I think what he's asking is, on songs where the whole band starts out, there's no count in, how do you start on time? Well, what I do is I'll create a little lead in that only I'm hearing, and then I'll take it out when I'm mixing down the recording afterwards. So like for the hardwired Lars Wired video, it starts off with the hardwire that starts right on time with the band, and there's no lead in. So what I did is I create something in the same time as that, and just put that right in the front, so that serves as my my 4 count. And in that case, it was the right. So I created that as my 4 count, so I can start right on time. So good question.
Did you notice that Jeff Waters actually saw your drum cover of Phantasmagoria?
Yeah, I didn't know that about his YouTube channel, but I actually talked to Jeff Waters on Facebook. It was Phantasmagoria. I did I Am in Command. There was a couple of them. I know, even like we were even talking about my Chemical Warfare video and shit, and I talked about how Ray Hartman was my favorite drummer of Annihilator. This whole YouTube thing that I do from my basement creates these like boner moments, where these people are like cartoon characters to me. They're not even like real people, because I hold them up to such a standard, like I'm a music geek. So yeah, that was another very cool moment.
I have a question. I've been trying to make drum covers for a while, but can never figure out how to perfectly paste the song in time over the video of me playing. How do you do it so well?
That's always like a big dirty thing with musicians, like, fixing stuff. And, some people think, man, this guy's this guy is fake. He just fixes all of his shit and he moves it where it needs to be. What I do is I try not to fuck with the drums I play. And then I'll take the song and I will move the song accordingly. That way it's genuine. It's my feel, right? And just because you're a millisecond off on one little thing doesn't mean it's bad on its own. So yeah, in order to fix that, I'll move the song, by hundredths of a thousandth of of a second where I need it to be, just for those little passages. So there you go. See, look at that. Look at those balls. I can admit that and not feel too bad about it. Yeah. Hot shit. Oh, these are funny. All right. Slayer wrote Spit Out the Bone. This is what half the comments consist of. Way better version. Or this. Original is better. Either people like it, think it's way better, or they hate it and think that's way worse. Don't matter to me, man. It was a cool experiment, and Crebel Star is the shit for creating that. For those that aren't aware, me and him just kind of, he uploaded it and he programmed all the drums like Lombardo, and I was just like, wow, man, this guy, for being a guitar player, he really has the mind of a drummer. And he's kind of like me, where he's being real clever and whimsical with this shit, where he knows Lombardo's tendencies and he took advantage of them. He did such a good job. I said, dude, can I get in on this? I'd totally want to do something like that. If you can get me your music without Lombardo's, the drum track you programmed, that'd be freaking great. And props to that guy, man. That was just such a freaking brilliant idea. Also, you can get that song on iTunes, and you can listen to it on like Spotify and all that shit. Link is in the description, so check that out.
You ever hit your head with a drumstick?
Yeah, I remember when I was like 11 years old, and I was pretty young. I remember playing and freaking going like this for a cymbal, and somehow or maybe I was going for the snare. I freaking grazed my face. Oh, dude, I wanted to punch cymbals so bad. That hurt really bad. Another funny story like that is I was playing a show once out in Mongo 7. It was just in like this little bar, but it was freaking great because it was a big mass of humanity who was trashed and screaming and enjoying us. But there was all these people around my drum kit. This one guy was like right here, and he's all like, yeah. And I'm like, dude, you're getting really close, man. I'm in the middle of shit, so it's not like I can chit chat. But I'm like, dude, And I was going for a cymbal, and I freaking hit this guy's finger. I mean, dude, oh my god, can you imagine? I'm surprised I didn't get jacked for it, but I'm like, oh, dude, like I'm trying to explain to him while I'm playing. It's like, dude, I'm so sorry, man, but dude, I try to tell you, holy fuck, that dude's finger just must have exploded, because I've hit my finger, I've hit my head, and something like this, it's almost worse than like a bat. Getting hit by a bat, I mean, yeah, great, but these, because they're so small, dude, that would hurt so freaking bad. Can you imagine freaking full impact? Ugh.
Something about not liking the tempo changes in Death and liking Morbid Angel doesn't add up. Not hating, just saying.
In that last video where I was talking about Death, I don't know how to talk. I don't talk right. You can probably get a comment out of whatever I'm about to say here. And say you're to take that 12 phrasing, or whatever you want to call it, 3/4, here we go. And then you start your next passage, and it's in a different time than that 4/4, but you're taking those, that 12 phrasing, and then you apply it in a 16th or a 4/4 form in a different tempo. It's still divisible, by whatever was happening before. I appreciate that. From my experience with Death, it seems like they take a song and there's no divisible pulse that goes through it. Seems like here's a section and it's like, all right, And then fucking next part comes and it's not even divisible. It's just kind of like, well, that part's done. We're going to chop that right here and we're going to paste this part in right here. And, you know, now we're going to do this. After this part's done, Maiden is good for this too. Maiden is like nice tempo changes. Freaking, they speed way up, they slow way down. They don't understand how, you know, they don't understand the typical flow. It just seems like they'll take a part and, oh, that's done. All right, we're going to go on to this now. And it's like, come on, man, you got to work that shit out. You got to figure it out. But it's just, from first glance, when I hear stuff like that, it's like, come on, man, you know, trying to have a good time, and then you had to change it. But however, spiritual healing, I might do that song. That's some good shit. You know, don't get me wrong, I like that kind of music, but I don't know. It's just sometimes how things are put together. Even Dream Theater does a bunch of crazy shit. It's not like they take a tempo and just fucking it comes out of nowhere. It's always there's a small thread within whatever they're doing that they use to divide in to the next situation. At least in most circumstances. Think of like Brighter Than 1,000 Suns. Like they're in that middle part. It's like, what was that, dude? It's just like, okay, this part's done. We're gonna do this, and there's no smooth transition. There's nothing that justifies and walks you into the next part. It's just kind of like, oh, all right, this now. It's like, come on, man, you know, get your shit straight. But there you go. All right, here come the Maiden fans. I'm ready for it.
Why no love for this vid? Drumming's on point.
This was from 2012. Look at that freaking thumbnail. It's hilarious. That's why there's no love for this vid. I always suggest to anybody asking is create a thumbnail. If you just have some freaking extremely low res, blurry mid shot of just some freaking guy playing in his basement with a bunch of, it's not appealing. You don't watch a movie, you don't see the cover of a movie, and you just see some blurry still of like it. It's like, no, it's not cool. You got to have a title, you got to have a cool scene, you know, something to look at that presents this, whatever it is. And yes, I had no subscribers at that time. Things have changed, but don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been crawling ever since I started this. There was no like overnight moment where, boom, it exploded, and then it just kept going exponentially. It's been really slow the whole freaking time. And I do hear from some drummers coming up on YouTube, and they ask like, yeah, like, well, what do you do to get seen? Like, can you pay? Do you pay for like subs, and you do like the sub for sub thing? And it's like, yeah, no, it's there's no integrity in that.
Did someone say deicide? Love your stuff, Josh. Keep it up. India? Man, you got fans here in the Philippines. By the way, can you do deicide, Standing in the Flames?
Standing in the flames, fuck the Lord's redemption, cursed is the way. Good old Glenn. But howdy, man. I might do deicide someday. It's hard though, man. It's kind of like next level shit for me with the double bass, and I can do some of that though. Shut up, man! I'm in a video.
Is that another hi-hat above your floor tom?
This is actually, yeah, it's a hi-hat stand with a clamp for this. Right now I have a stack on here. I just, you know, use the top of a hi-hat clamp. And whenever I need the hi-hat there, I just swap it out. Works fine. I don't use the pedal though. I just need it there because it serves multiple purposes. All right, I gotta go, folks. So I'll be back keep the comments coming. Yeah, it's been fun. Later, folks.